Was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
Welcome back to the Hishaku Hideout, a weekly podcast where we talk about the latest chapter and everything Kagurabachi. I'm here with Shiny.
Yo.
And today we're getting to chapter 108, but first I guess I'll address the elephant in the room. Dice is not here. He actually has to step away for a couple weeks to handle some IRL issues. So, everyone keep Dice in your prayers, but make sure you give Shiny a warm welcome. He's going to be filling in for Dice. You might be familiar with Shiny because he's the first guest ever on this channel, and he's the only guest ever to do 2 guest appearances.
Really?
I felt like it, So I felt like it made sense to bring you in as the auxiliary guest host. So I appreciate you stepping in, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So I guess, we'll just do what we usually do. We're going to keep our same vibe. We'll get in our bag and look at the beginning of the chapter. We see Soga talking about this samurai code, and it also talks about life is no more than fuel we burn for our ideal world, which we know Soga has this absolute justice, and with his ability, the true realm bends to the user's will, or the user changes the true realm, right? And because it pulls vitality from all living things, it has this thick black spirit manifestation, which his words here just kind of recontextualize that life is no more than fuel. So that's why his attacks are that devastating.
Yeah, especially because in the last chapter we saw that the spirit energy only turns black when it's at the end of its rope, when it really drains all the life out of something. So yeah, makes sense.
And it that's we talk about with we talked a bit about that with back with the Cloud Gouger when Yura's first appearance, that May turned black, and who knew that was going to be Magatsumi foreshadowing. But like I said last episode, it seems almost everything is a Magatsumi foreshadowing. It's such a pivotal part of the world that it's the thing that led to these circumstances. One crazy thing that I thought was cool, Yura wants this life, right, of the enchanted blades to save the helpless, and he went about this extreme mission to make that happen. But the thing is, the reason why the enchanted blades were sealed up was because of the very same person that he allowed to take over his body. You know what I mean? The enchanted blades were sealed because of the Magatsumi's actions, or because of Soga's actions with the Magatsumi. So
yeah.
And Yura's pissed that they were sealed, but it's technically Soga's fault they were sealed in some regard, or all the blame for that.
Now that you mention that, I wonder how Yura feels about that, because we never really see his perspective on. Well, we do see his perspective. He agrees with the malediction, but it's it's exactly what you said. The malediction is what led to the blades being sealed. If the malediction never happened, then chances are the blades would never have gotten sealed.
Yeah.
It's good point.
It's everyone's talking about Yura's got all these issues with his plan, or he's a hypocrite, and all these things about killing children. But the thing is, that doesn't bother me in the sense of because he said he took the absolute necessary steps to make it happen. So that's a sliding scale, because he deemed all those deaths and all the innocent children, all these things, he steeled his resolve, knowing that those were the absolute necessary things that he had to do in order to make this happen. So I'm okay with that. That was just it had to, the ends justify the means. So that just was a part of the plan. It sucked, and don't get me wrong, it's hypocritical to some extent, but the thing was, he made reservations knowing that we're gonna have to make these sacrifices to make this happen. But my thing was the hiccup of, bro, the Magatsumi is the reason why, or the malediction was the reason why all the other blades were sealed. That's the one hiccup for me, is that I do hope we get a little bit more on that.
In what way do you mean that? What? How do you want
Yura, maybe seeing, because I personally think Yura's done in the story.
Really?
In terms of walking around, I don't think he's I think Soga's just gonna, because he did say he'll give Yura his body back.
Yeah.
But he said that before, like, actually coming out and seeing the full. Because remember, he said he only had an idea of what was going around the Magatsumi. So now that he's out and he sees like the state of everything, he may just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you your body back, but when I'm finished doing what I have to do." So we don't know that just because he said he's giving him his body back doesn't mean he's giving it back to him right away. You know, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna keep. I have more to do. I got justice to serve out, and
Okay.
I'm thinking Yura. Maybe this might be like a fight from within type of thing. When Yura at the very end, you know, like kind of wakes up and sees that he's going a little bit further than I thought he would, and then Yura tries to get control back from Soga. Because look at Soga. I don't see how we beat this dude.
Yeah, look, let me put it this way. The last few chapters, I was kind of thinking of multiple ways of how we could beat Soga. And as these chapters were coming out every single week, Hokazono was proving my theories wrong. So like my first theory that I had was that it was kind of gonna be that, okay, Soga can take over Yura's body, but it only lasts as long as Yura has energy for it, right? And then I believe it was like the very next chapter we find out, oh no, the guy can passively drain life force. So that theory went right out the window. And then another theory that I had was what was it again? I thought it was gonna be like a timer, like the ability just has like a natural timer, because this isn't his actual body. And then I don't know, I just felt like that wasn't it either. And then I felt like maybe if they could steal the blade from him, that could work. And then that wasn't it either. And then they were they were doing the plan with like using Suzaku to reverse the tides of how much Soga has infected Yura's body, and that didn't work either. And then last week's chapter, we saw that Chihiro's Nishiki can block the passive ability of the life draining, and I thought like, okay, he's just gonna hand that ability over to Samura, because we know that Nishiki can cloak objects as well. So I thought maybe he was just gonna cloak Samura, and that way they can slowly pull themselves back together. But now we see at the end of the chapter that Enten is broken. So
Yeah.
that's not it either. So Hokazono has like consistently been proving my theories wrong, and I don't have like necessarily a problem with that, but I'm just like,
What else could it be?
yeah, it's setting in more and more in my mind that I feel like Hokazono's intent with this arc is that they're supposed to lose. This is the I know people hate to compare the two, but this is the Shibuya incident, right? You're gonna lose this arc. You're not gonna win. And that kind of goes into my other theory that I know I have a lot of theories, but it was my other theory that when Yura went to Samura to talk about their plans initially, or like I think it was the second time, he sees like a flash forward of like a city that was taken over by flowers and whatnot, and I kind of speculated back then that Yura's innate sorcery was like a type of premonition or clairvoyance type sorcery, and that he kind of knew that this was all going to happen already to some extent. And then in like I don't know, what was like 4 months ago, we saw that chapter where they started fighting in the city. Maybe it was 2 months ago, I don't know, the timeline in my head is like kind of weird. We saw that they were fighting in the city, and then I was like, yeah, this is for sure gonna happen, like a second mini malediction. And I was kind of already preparing myself for the idea that the Kaminabi HQ is gonna blow up and they're gonna end on a loss. And I was okay with that, but I did not think that Chihiro himself would also end on a loss. You know?
Yeah, and it's pretty substantial too, because when you look at everything that's like happening in this chapter, and the fact of like this life drain is, you know, you just have to be near him, you know, you just have to be in the vicinity. So now that Intense broke, like I thought this is where Hiyuki pops up, because like I thought he was gonna learn to like, you know, cloak others with Nishiki fully to like basically be able to get Hiyuki back, and then they can give Samura enough time to heal, so then it would be a 3v1. Like I thought they was gonna go that route, but now with like this happening, Samura is in no, like, he's not really in any shape to like lend aid here. Like we see like when they jump in the air on the very first page, Soga and Chihiro, you just see like Samura is looking like fodder almost. I mean, obviously we know he isn't, but his body's just like flailing around from the shockwaves. And like, of course Soga even tells him, like, dude, you're it's inevitable, you're gonna die. But
I mean, it makes sense too, because remember, before this fight, he had his fight with Chihiro, then he healed the entire building, he healed Chihiro, he healed the Masumi. He had Owl running for like, 7 days straight, throughout the entire country of Japan. So he has not had a single break up until now. And I kind of understand.
Was putting belt to ass. Yura was doing his thing with the Magatsumi as well, to like make Samura burn more spirit energy.
So it's not crazy.
Oh yeah. Like that dude. I mean, let's be real. Me and Dice kind of. I mean, I think it's more me so than Dice, but even Dice will do it every now and then, throw shade at Samura. But objectively, we enjoy his character. I mean, the man's put on a show since he's been in the series. You know what I mean? Like, since the temple, the man's just been outstanding. But the only way I see us getting out of this is like Samura making the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate, gamble. He's betting on the future. He's gonna give up his life and basically heal Chihiro with Suzaku. I mean, now, how does that happen? I don't know, because Soga's not just gonna let that shit happen. No one can come give aid anymore either, because as you said, Enten's broke, so no Nishiki can, is gonna play a part.
Well, yes and no. Remember, Cloud Gouger was still able to function like for a little bit, even as a broken sword, so it's not entirely
Who's gonna pick it up though? Because Chihiro's got stabbed through the heart, right? So if he's dead, his internal contract is severed, so someone new can come pick up that blade and get a contract with Enten. But then that's like opens the door to so many questions of like how does that work? It'll be insane now if Soga picks up Enten and forms a contract with Enten. Oh my god, can you imagine how pissed off people would be?
Dude.
And then
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, me neither. But can you imagine? And Chihiro has to maybe like, I don't know how. I mean, that's the end of the series. GG, Soga wins.
I mean, dude, I feel like it's already the end of this. Well, it's not actually the end of the series. We still have like a long way to go. But I feel like in terms of how powerful Soga is, it feels like endgame territory, even though it's not. But it feels like that, because if you look on page 4, for example, like you see, like even Samura's flames can no longer repel the flowers. And then on page 5, was it page 5? No, is it page 5? No, I don't remember what page it was, but one of the pages they were like, Magatsumi has infinite powers. I'm like, what?
Those forms are infinite in number. It activates by channeling black energy into various forms.
What?
And it's like, so you tell me this man's gonna just butterfly, centipede, caterpillar, spider,
caterpillar, ant.
Okay.
What else?
He's gonna be creating animals.
Mosquito, fly,
dung beetle.
Like, dude.
Yeah, like that's gonna
animals.
be funny. This motherfucker's gonna have a zoo. He's gonna have a zoo of black manifestations. It's gonna be crazy. Terrarium. It is so funny that there's that panel of, you see the crow's feathers and there's just flowers growing out of the crow's feather. There's like ultimate, like, just fuck you to Samura. It's like, but this dude, it's just, I think this just like shows like, man, Hiro's just not built for this yet. He's not ready for this stage. But to be fair, even Samura isn't built for this stage. Like, because, as we know, this dude faced the other 5 enchanted, like, sword masters, 5 other sword masters, mind you,
at the same time in one.
And he just chilled. He was chilling, holding them off. They were just trying to They were basically fighting him, but they were really just trying to survive. And he just gave up. I'm thinking here, like, Shiba, if Shiba wants to, like, come in clutch, he needs to start teleporting in a bunch of innocent civilians. And just, like, he just needs to start teleporting in a bunch of innocent civilians, like, one mass, like, crowd of people, and try and, like, confuse him with all, like, the innocent civilians, because we know he doesn't want to kill Japanese.
Dude, you're probably on the money. Dude, that's probably how we take down Soga. Because we know he hates evildoers, right?
Yo.
What if his mission causes an innocent to die? That's your answer.
Yeah. Damn, I feel bad for that one unlucky soul.
True.
The same. Sacrifice has got to be made. Chihiro needs to come back.
Because, like, I remember even at the start of this fight in particular, when he was asking how, like, what the range was of Shiba's evacuation, he was like, if you step outside of that range, you have to off yourself. And I feel like it would be kind of hypocritical if he doesn't adhere to that same principle as well, right?
So that makes me think, what if Shiba sacrifices himself and teleports Soga far away in a crowd of people?
Yeah.
Now, Shiba most likely would lose his life just touching Soga, but it would give Samura time to heal Chihiro, if that's, if he still can.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he can't. Soga, he's fast as fuck for sure, but if he teleports him far away enough, they will have time to basically get Chihiro and get out of there at least.
Yeah.
Would you prefer? I'm not saying that is going to happen. I don't even know how I personally, or what percentage I think that's feasible. But if you had to choose Samura or Shiba, which one would you prefer to lose? If you had to choose out of those?
Honestly, right now, Samura, because we've just seen a lot of him, like his story, his motivations, I feel like he could have a proper conclusion. Whereas from Shiba, I still don't have enough. Like, he's been there really long. He's been there since chapter 1. But
One panel.
I still don't know enough about him,
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a logical answer. My answer would be take both of them. Fuck it. I'm just like
chaotic evil.
Yeah, right. Just maybe Soga had a point. Started sympathizing. Oh man.
Okay, I want to quickly transition over to a different topic. It's more so something that I like to do. I like to do a little power scaling stuff, right? But dude, if you look at the second page, which is the double spread with page 2 and 3, they form the double spread, which is Enten versus Magatsumi. It's like the opening. If you look at the right side, you'll see the ground at the bottom of the page with like a car and a tree and the roads. And you can kind of see that the building, one of the skyscrapers, is falling down, right? And then it kind of zooms into the falling skyscraper. And then we see Chihiro and Soga, right? And they're in their clash. And then we move on to the next page and they're still in their clash. And you see like the Kuro fishes eventually popping up around around Soga. And that's when Chihiro starts to do his little teleporting sequence, which you and I both think is kind of reminiscent of like Yuji and Todo. But the one thing that I think is really interesting about all of this is that this entire sequence, this entire fight basically happens as the building is falling. And I mean, a building falling shouldn't take that long, right? Like a building can fall.
It's almost instantaneous. It's almost instantaneous,
A building can fall in like 10 seconds. I mean, if it reaches terminal velocity, something that heavy can definitely fall pretty fast. And so they're having this entire battle as the building is falling. It's almost like time has stopped. And I never really realized that until now. And the reason why I realized that is because a couple pages later, they mention how Soga's butterfly works. And it says like, whereas Enten's Kuro fires like a slashing attack through space, butterfly cuts space itself. So it's very reminiscent of like Sukuna's world cutting slash,
Yep.
right? And the narrator himself says that to be able to react to this attack, it would take so little time that you could essentially call it instantaneous, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how fast these characters are moving. This puts into perspective why it seems like they can fight in a building that is currently falling and it looks like time has stopped. These characters are so fast.
Yeah, Chihiro's reaction to the actual butterfly slash. I mean, like you see the slash come through the panel. It's like right in front of his eyes, and then he literally blitzes Soga and scratches his cheek.
They are so fast, and I love how I like the power scaling aspect, but I love even more when the power scaling aspect has a narrative side to it. And the narrative side in this case is that Soga is just that guy. He's fighting against against two people who can teleport, and they are using the fastest fictional version of an EI drawing stance, which is their EI White Purity style, and his normal drawing, his normal way of wielding the sword is so fast that he can just catch up and keep up with and even outspeed the unorthodox method. Right.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
The best chance that they've ever had this whole fight is a scratch on the cheek. You know what I mean?
Saying.
Like they're like killing themselves to like get to the level to contend with him while he's just still a base.
It's really good.
Yeah, like
it's really good.
It's definitely like the execution of your final villain, and you know this is definitely a great way to do it. To we know what he's capable of now, but the fact of like this, as you mentioned earlier, those forms are infinite in number. He can still be an ever-growing catalyst of a final villain with that. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah.
So Chihiro's like leveled, like, so even when Chihiro like meets him on, you know, the stage, he will still have to like contend with whatever Hokuzono throws at or gives Soga, you know, in his bag.
Yeah.
Who knows what Soga's gonna do? Like I said, it also makes me wonder. I guess the big thing is how we get out of this and then where do we go from here. And I don't think, obviously, no one's gonna know. There's just, you know, I have this big thing of like Chihiro becoming kind of like the villain of the world. Not necessarily a villain, but just in the eyes of the public, because Soga is like, it's gonna come back to bite them on the ass that they built a statue of Soga. You know, people revere Soga. There's a Kunishige Day, and there's a statue of Soga to like commemorate his like hard fought like battle and war to win the war for them.
Yeah.
So that's gonna bite them on the ass when he does get around the public. They're gonna be like, oh my god, it's the guy from the statue. Oh, you're a hero, And Chihiro's the one trying to take that hero down. So Chihiro's automatically gonna be viewed as a villain by the public. And so I think like he's gonna make, like, I call it the Neo Hishaku, like the new generation of the Hishaku, where, you know, he's been kind of building his like ragtag team that kind of has like, you could almost parallel some of them to like the other you know, the original Hishaku. And in fact, I even think Yura might have went on a similar path than Chihiro did. Basically, revenge. It started with revenge. You know, like he lost someone, Chihiro lost someone. Shiba enabled Chihiro. I think Hishaku has been enabling Yura. And then he's kind of been building a team like Chihiro's built a team, but there are two opposite sides of the coin. Chihiro is like this more like true, like closer to altruism in a sense, just a good guy, like the right side of revenge. Whereas like Yura, if there ever is one, but then Yura is like the equal but opposite, you know, tainted revenge. It's all, and Hachaku's just been enabling that, you know, kind of like the negative side of it. Whereas like Shiba's been a positive enabler for like Chihiro, not letting him, you know, not trying to push him into dark alleys, not trying to you know, not allowing him like the freedom to make connections with someone like Hakuri and putting faith into him. Whereas Hishaku probably put him in a position to build the team that's gonna like be the most destructive. You know, like it's like two sides of revenge. One's a tainted justice, and one's like a truer sense of justice. And I do hope we see that. That's one theory that I hope comes true, because I think that would be really cool for Yura to kind of start off like Chihiro, someone who just was on the outside of the world of sorcery, and he steeled his resolve and trained himself to be able to combat these things. Because we saw that man had mailman aura, but he literally is swapping hands with Natsuki and Uruha, sword masters. And he was, not that long ago, the man was a mailman or a banker, so he must have to do some insane training.
I will say though, if what you're saying is true, then that does mean that at some point we need Yura to come back. Yeah.
Or it's going to be like that mental scape. It's going to be a conversation Chihiro has with Yura in the mental.
Nope. I refuse. Nope.
I ain't mad at that.
Nope.
I just love Yura's, like, I'm going to say, like, in quotations, conclusion. Like, him
Yura
asking
is
for
the
a
final
hero.
villain. Don't at me.
Hey, bro, I would love that. I've been for that. I love his conclusion. It wasn't 103 or 104, whatever it was.
Temporary conclusion. Temporary.
Yeah. Hey, I'm hoping you're right. Hoping you're right.
Okay.
But I do think that would be something very interesting to see Yura go through a similar path, the equal but opposite of Chihiro.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's still so much left unexplored with Yura. And I also think that, let's say, well, if the arc is going as it is right now with everyone losing, then chances are that Soga just goes back down to the HQ, he takes his real body, and then he gives back Yura his own body. So I feel like the arc could just end on Soga freeing himself,
Yeah. No, I think like a lot of, I've seen a lot of people kind of like think that that's kind of the go-to, like it makes sense. We know his body is pretty fucked though. And
yeah, but it doesn't really matter because he has the life drain.
Yeah.
Life drain is such a stupidly easy ability.
See, that's how I wonder how that like mechanic would work. He'd have to break himself out, but if he breaks those pillars, that body's probably gonna die right away because it's like literally on like 1 HP. And
I don't think so. I don't think it is anymore. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because
it's like siphoning off from the Magatsumi right now.
Yeah, not right now, but I think it was before. Because
that's how he could stand up.
Exactly. That was what I was gonna say, because he was essentially let at 1 HP, right? What you said. And then we saw him stand up, which was something that he should not have been able to do. But then we got the info that, yeah, Kiora was the one who dumped his energy into it, and Soga was draining his mind at the time. He was doing the encroaching thing. And then Yura also dumped his energy into the blade. And then, like, before they kind of came to an agreement, Soga was also doing the encroaching thing on Yura's mind. So I think he has been siphoning a little bit of their energy. Maybe not like a lot, but it is enough to not instantly die the moment those pillars break.
Fair. Yeah, I agree. I do agree now you say that. Yeah, that's... Helga-san just has me so excited for the future, honestly. It's just everything we see here, like Chihiro, we know he gets upscales through every battle, like it's a shonen, characters grow through battle. Chihiro has, like, on Yuji Itadori timing, died twice, so now it's this a more dire situation than ever, just because Soga is in the vicinity. So it like doesn't really allow for intervention from outside sources, because thinking about it now, the Hishaku, they have the other enchanted blades, so it's not like Subaru could come in if they just decide to let Subaru and Pinky come pop in to help fight, because the Hishaku have those swords. So those would be the only two that could possibly be like of use, Hiyuki is another one, but she's not going to be able to fight off like the life drain. And I don't know, unless maybe like Flamebone fully full, inhibited, basically like guards her from that somehow. But that's just drawing the fight out longer, and I think this arc's ending in a couple chapters. Personally, I think this arc's concluding in a few.
I want to throw a theory your way and hear your thoughts on it. So we know that versus Hirohiko, Chihiro was able to use Aka. Some people say that he absorbed Banquet, and that this death, and by some people I mean Orion, and that this death is either Hirohiko or it's Chihiro using Banquet. Aka Banquet. Thoughts? Did he actually die? Thoughts?
First thought is Orion is dad. First thought. That's first thought when I hear that name. That's interesting. I mean, it would be the fake out.
It's pure cope, by the way. Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's pure cope.
It's interesting because it's not something that I thought of. To be honest, because of Banquet's style of attack, I didn't think Banquet would be something that he could necessarily like Aka. Or at least that's from like where I'm thinking. It's been a while since I read those chapters. Maybe I'll go back and read them later today and see how that actually played out. Because I don't think that's what's happening here. I would love to be wrong, but I don't think that's what's happening here. I just think the style of attack of Banquet is more of like Genjutsu in a sense where I don't know what Chihiro could absorb from that.
Okay, fair. And then what I also
love Orion.
He's a person.
He's a person, yeah.
No, but what I also want to hear your thoughts on is, did you enjoy the final 4 pages, which are like the 2 double spreads? Did you enjoy those? Like, what are your thoughts on those?
Before I get in that, I do want to. We kind of skipped over it a bit. That in the first spread, and I'll answer your question. The Magatsumi vibrates in Soga's hand. So, yeah, you can see the vzz, and you see the hand, like his hand, kind of, he looks down at his hand.
Oh.
So Chihiro, they clash, and Chihiro tried to bang that bitch out, but I mean, obviously Soga ain't gonna let that happen, and we saw he only put a crack in Suzaku. So this is kind of like, I think this is going to be the callback. This little panel here, and it's a little square panel. Instead of putting too much emphasis on it, this is going to be like the callback to be like, oh, I remember. Kind of like, I don't want to talk about JJK again, but I was talking about when Yuji and Higuruma drop in, and Sukuna feels like the vibration from that Yuji when he blocks Yuji's punch.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And, this will be a callback later. This little panel here is going to get called back later when, the final battle happens. It's like, oh, that was like the first steps of him like getting close to breaking Magatsumi. That's like the precursor.
Fair enough.
The last 4 pages. One, the art, stellar. I love these this shots of Soga like actually being like, all right, Chihiro and the Enten are a real threat. Like, Samura's like looking on as he's like on death's bed, barely like living. He gives Chihiro like the respect of calling him a samurai, but it that just made him like see him like, all right, I gotta get rid of him. But the fact, I was confused at first on the very last page where he says the heart's on the left, right? Like that was kind of, that dialogue just kind of weird to me. Almost as if like he doesn't have a heart anymore. You know what I mean? Like he's like forgot where heart is, but I don't know, like that's one thing that stuck out to me, and I think I love seeing the on the very last spread, the Enten breaking with the panels of Kunishige crafting it with Chihiro behind it.
Mhm.
Like, that is so weighted because you see Chihiro's eyes as he's like reacting to, you know, like almost breaking the Enten. One is that's an enchanted blade, right? The Enten's supposed to be the enchanted blade that breaks enchanted blades.
Right.
Now the Magasumi just broke that one. And I think that destroyed Chihiro before he was even stabbed through. Like, I think that hurt him more than getting stabbed through in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that it could be broken just like that so easily. Like, that's the big thing to me, because we know Chihiro's not dead, right? But the scar of Soga breaking the Enten so casually is gonna leave a scar on Chihiro's heart. And we might get that Chihiro crafting a sword arc that everyone's been talking about since chapter 1.
Fair enough.
What do you think?
You really want to know what I think?
Oh shit. Oh shit.
You really want to know?
I need a hot take
hot
I need a
take
hot
incoming.
take
Guys, you're gonna hate me for this. But I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate it. I hate it. I truly do hate it. And look, before I say why I hate it, I will preface it by saying that Hokazono has said from the very beginning, I believe it was his first interview at Anime Expo in Paris, France. He said that there would be a sword crafting thing, and Chihiro would use the other end of Kuregumo and whatnot. So he could fuse the two right now. It has been set up, right? I will just say that. I will preface it by saying that. But
subjectively,
the reason why,
you just have a distaste for it.
Yeah. So the reason why I don't like these last 4 pages, the last 2 double spreads, like art-wise, phenomenal, right? The main reason why I don't like it, because I really wanted Enten to be unique. The one blade that could break the unbreakable blades.
Oh, okay.
I really liked that aspect of Enten representing Chihiro's not necessarily indomitable will, but more so Chihiro being the answer to the madness that was created before. I really
I see what you're
liked
saying.
that.
Yeah,
And
fair.
Look, I also get why it would be possible for Soga to break Enten and other blades potentially, right? Because how do I put it? Magatsumi is kind of like this unstoppable force, and it would be kind of weird if an unstoppable force had objects that it would stop against. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. I would prefer just if he like chipped like Enten or something. Just chipped it, or I see what you mean. And like one thing about the Magatsumi this chapter, it gets like a new epithet to it, the true striker, as the Shinichi, the true striker, the Magatsumi. You know, we never heard it been called the true striker before. Not saying that that's not like what we couldn't really like extrapolate out of what we got so far, but I mean, I get what you're saying. You know, that's not something I've really thought about, but the fact of like, because I've been having this theory for a while, and I know I was the first one to said it. I was the first one who said this, but saying that everyone views the Enchanted Blades as Kunishige's like masterpiece, but Chihiro is like Kunishige's greatest masterpiece.
Right.
And the whole point, the big thing with that was the fact that he was going to be the one to bring change, and that is like a catalyst of him being able to break the swords. But now the Magatsumi can do it. You know, like.
Yeah.
So I get where you're at, and I'm not mad at you for it. I think that's very reasonable, to be honest.
Like I understand it's been set up, and I'm not mad that it happened, because I think it could have like a good outcome, especially if we get like Chihiro being what he initially dreamt of being, which was like a master swordsmith. So he could like just repair Enten and all would be well. I'm not saying that's necessarily a problem, but the problem that I have with it is purely that the uniqueness of Enten is gone, and that Magatsumi, I get that it has infinite powers now. It's like, okay, sure, but I just wished that one aspect was something that was true only for Chihiro and Enten.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the hot take, really. I don't know if it's actually a hot take or not, but you know,
Yeah, and I
it
guess
is what it is.
because think about like Soga, right? His whole thing is, he's even like, why were the enchanted blades sealed? Like he's like disgusted that they were even sealed. So he would never really like purposely want to destroy enchanted blades because he wants them to be used for justice too. But now he sees the Enten as like a depriver sword. It's like, and he sees I look at it as where he sees Enten as more of a threat than Chihiro.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But still, I get what you're saying too. But now let me tell you this: if Chihiro comes out and we get a time skip arc where he has to go underground and craft his sword, and he comes out with Darth Maul, looking like Darth Maul with Cloud Gouger on one end and Enten on the other end, I'd go crazy.
Would be cool.
But no, yeah, I think I think we really kind of covered most things in the chapter.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. I got one more.
Chill.
I got one more for you. It's about the last page again.
Let's go.
You mentioned how he was like saying about Chihiro's heart being on the left. And as you were saying that, I kind of started thinking to myself, did he say that so that he could intentionally stab the wrong side? Because we see a sword go through his back, but we can't, from this angle, you can't really tell if his left side got stabbed or his right side. So I'm wondering, is he even dead to begin with, or did he just want to take Chihiro out of commission? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, the heart's on the left, right? And then he just hits him on the right. Just tell him like, I could have killed you here. This your last chance. I broke your sword. I put you at death's door. If you live through this, like, he might just leave.
Right.
He's like, your sword's broken.
At the start
you're
of
on
the
death's
chapter,
door.
At the start of the chapter, Soga is like, Chihiro, you're my sister's son. If possible, I'd prefer not to kill you. So then, why would he then go and kill him at the end of the chapter if he's so much more powerful to the point where he could just take Chihiro out of commission without necessarily killing him? And I think this is his answer to that. He breaks his sword, which is his main weapon, to stand against Soga. So that's taken out of commission. And then you stab him in his right side, which isn't necessarily his heart, but he is injured enough to the point where he can no longer fight. I think that's kind of what happened. And it looks, from this angle, it looks like he's certainly dead, but it could also be a sort of fake out. So that's something I just want people to keep in mind going into next week. But yeah, that's it.
I think the more the emphasis is on the sword breaking than Chihiro getting stabbed through.
Right.
Like the whole emphasis of, like, don't get me wrong, Chihiro getting stabbed through is huge, obviously. But, I mean, it's not like that's something he can't come back from. The Enten breaking is something new that we've never even seen.
Yeah.
He clashed with Samura and no like, it didn't
not
dent
even a
or
single
nothing.
chip. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, this is like, the whole thing is the sword breaking, not him getting stabbed through. So that's a good shout. Yeah, this is one of the crazier chapters because I just did not intend, I just didn't imagine Enten was going to break.
Right.
Yeah, it's not something I even conceptualized as like a theory.
Right. It just never seemed like a possibility. And
yeah, because it's all about him breaking the other swords, not his sword breaking. It's like, fuck.
And again, I understand that, the swords have a true realm. And so if you believe your true realm to be capable of breaking other swords, that you should also be able to do that. Especially in Soga's case, him having like the best, well, not necessarily best, but the most
they say
driven mindset.
Last chapter, they literally say, like, in this true realm where he stands, in the true realm where the sword master presides, simply on the sheet, like, they just, the way they speak about the sword master's like true realm, like, it's like he lives there, like, he's like,
right.
We know this true realm is like this like understanding of this, like, synchronizing with your sword, but they just make it sound like he is the true realm, like him and his sword are just so in tune.
It's an ever evolving thing, and he just stands in the center of it. Yeah,
it's just his thought. Like, now it's like it's almost like your boy from Bleach, the vision. Now, is it what's his name? The imagination one, with a G, starts with a G. Gremmy. it's like almost like whatever he thinks of, he can like make happen. Because they even say it has infinite forms.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever he thinks of, whereas other people have to like synchronize and like really lock in with their blade to make these things happen. It's more just like a whim. It's like his whim.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Soga's crazy, man.
really interesting stuff. Yeah.
I do see why you have issues with the last moments of the chapter though, considering what everything we got beforehand, because it's what made Enten special. The fact that he crafted it with Kunishige. That's like chapter 83 where he's standing against Samura and he's in the water and he's underneath the water. You see him crafting it with his dad. Like all those moments just feel like, well, shit. Like that's what we thought.
To
The whole
Hokuzono's
bag.
credit, dude, to Hokuzono's credit, I think you could also be right, because when you see like in the last page, you see Chihiro having this flashback of him building the sword together with his father. I think it could also just be representative of Chihiro's morale and his mindset and everything that he's built up until now essentially shattering, because he realizes like, oh, his father really did make Nagatsumi to be the one above all type sword, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess there's merit in what you said as well, and it's a writing decision. You don't have to like every single writing decision, but I'm just curious to see where it goes from here.
Yeah. That is something to chew on, just the way this ends, and the theories are going to go crazy this week on the fandom for sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah, there was, one thing, I talked about, I had a theory where, and I talked about this with Dice a little bit, that what if Soga pushed kind of, because we know the first 5 blades, they equalized the war basically. They brought them to like a standstill. They got to fight back, but then that's when the Magatsumi came out to play. I'm wondering if Soga, being Kunishige's right-hand man and brother-in-law, was like kind of in Kunishige's ear, like, yo, why don't you craft a sword with the function to actually kill? You crafted all the other swords with a function of support. Like, sure, there's swords in there meant for killing, but their function is like support weapons. Why don't you make a sword for me to have? Like, what if he was in his ear pushing him to make a sword for killing? Like, Kunishige didn't want to, was hesitant, but then Soga was the one to like, come on, give me a sword for killing. If you do that, I'll end the war. And then, also,
speaking of that, I'm like really curious what even drove Soga to have such a old age type of mindset. Because at the start of the chapter, he's like, to a samurai, life is no more than fuel we burn for our ideal world. What could have possibly happened to him to make him have this like old-fashioned of a mindset?
Right? Like, bro,
I don't get that yet. I feel like there's still a lot that's left unexplored that we could delve into about his past and whatnot.
He's an Edo era fanboy or whatever cause like, bro, the war was only 18 years ago, fam, and ain't no samurai walking around. Like,
I'm saying, like, he's acting like he's been living 600 years in the past, even though it's like only happened 18 years ago. It's like, bro, what?
That boy's got if you went to his bedroom, he probably got samurai posters, the 7 Samurai movie on Blu-ray. He's got like all this like samurai memorabilia. He's on eBay bidding on samurai armor.
Yeah.
He's like just a fanboy. But no, I mean, that Soga flashback is gonna hit.
Really interesting.
But if you have anything else?
One last tidbit. The panel with is it on page 1, 2, 3, 4? We see like a crow and it has flowers growing out of the crow's wings. I think it's an actual bird and not Samuda's ability, but I love the representation of what it means for the story.
Oh yeah, it's just
I love that.
Yeah, it's strong symbolism for sure.
Right?
It's like this Magatsumi just trumps all, and the Suzaku or like Samura's like, for how Samura was like propped up in the story. He's got like the ultimate glaze. Like, Hokuzono gave this man the most love with his pen. So remember, just a couple months ago, we were saying, how can anyone beat Samura?
Yeah, he's too strong for the story.
Yeah, he's
Never mind.
yeah. Well, real raggy. Like it's fucking. This dude is just in base, just like casually beating his ass.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny how like the tides can turn in manga. Like we think everything is so or finite, or everything is just kind of like set in stone, but these authors, an author with a vision can like can flip a story on its head and make it make sense, because it's impossible now to even think that, because we were also under the assumption that the 5 enchanted blade wielders like captured Soga and brought him back. No, like when that like reveal of information that he was just chilling waiting for the malediction to complete.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like something like that is like something beyond the realm of possibility for like all the readers at that point. You know what I mean?
Also, the more the malediction happened, like the further it progressed, the stronger Soga should have become, because it would have drained like it would have drained 200,000 people of their lifespan or life energy or whatever.
Yeah, the
and then he
flowers
would
are
have
still
absorbed
blooming
that.
on Shikoku too.
Yeah.
Remember, so like this man's spirit energy is like infinitesimal.
Through the roof. It's through the roof. Dude, this guy is too strong. I don't know.
He's cracked. So I gotta ask you.
All right.
Chapter 109 theories. Where are you at for that? You got any theories for what's gonna happen?
Ooh.
I know we talked about a lot of theories of what could happen, but direct continuation. What do you think? And we do have a chapter next week, which is good. It feels good to be back.
Yeah, no break. Theories for next week. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say it's either a POV switched back to the HQ, or we see Chihiro get put out of commission. I don't think he's necessarily dead, as I said before, but he is out of commission, and Samura is out of commission as well. And then we kind of see Soga start to enact the rest of his plan to free his real body. And I think he wanted to kill Hakuri as well. We might get a little start to that sequence, if not a complete POV switch.
Yeah,
that's what I
could
guess.
see a POV switch. I could definitely see that. But I mean,
I think this sequence is kind of over. Like, there's nothing really that Chihiro and Samura could do anymore. Like, Samura's out of energy and he's like cooked, and then Chihiro, he's not necessarily
definitely
out of energy,
cooked.
but he's like definitely cooked, as you say.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I think a POV switch is about right. I agree, because like you said, there's not much that can happen. It's just going to be either dialogue that happens if they stay here,
yeah,
or intervention from somewhere else. But like we said, can't really think of it. But as you said, he might have missed his heart on purpose, and he might just be like, all right, well, I'm gonna go take care of that Sazanami brat real quick. But yeah, but no, man, I appreciate you coming through. Next week, most likely, if you come back, I'd love to have you back on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Pretty sure Dice is going to be out at least for another week or two. Could be longer, but we'll see what happens. But
right.
It was fun. Good discussion, brother.
Yeah, man, it's good.
And y'all make sure to like and subscribe. Check out Shiny's channel. I'll have your I should have said that earlier too, my bad, but I'll make sure to put your link in the link in the description and all that. And I'll collab.
Hold on.
Make sure.
Forget my channel. You need to talk about your new channel.
Nah.
Yes.
The channel's cooked already. The channel's cooked already.
No. Tell the people about your channel.
Yeah, I got a new channel trying to start fresh called the
There we go.
Jigan. I'll put the link in the description on that. I only got one video out, but I'm working on a Chojin X video. I'm gonna be a bit more analytical on that channel and kind of tackle like character analysis. Maybe try and get my Rad Man bag. But we'll see what happens with that. But thanks, Shiny. Appreciate everybody. Y'all like and subscribe. Check out Shiny's channel. Check out my new channel, as Shiny says. Appreciate you. And see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.